Tonight on Newswatch, the truck driver involved in the Licking County crash that killed 6 is now facing charges. Plus, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has resigned in the aftermath of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And some airlines are still struggling to recover from last week's international tech outage. Newswatch starts right now. A local organization dedicated to clearing nature trails is in need of more volunteers. Good evening, I'm Donovan Varney. Welcome to Newswatch. Newswatch reporter Allison Patton got to go with that group of organizers to clear a trail. Allison?
Thanks, Donovan. We cleared one of the hardest trails in the county, the Sundown Trail. For people to ride, hike, or run the trail, it needed some work. And the group maintaining it, and many others, is facing a volunteer shortage.
Paul Schultz used to be a fireman, but now that he's retired,
I'm going to cut from the top and see if
he spends his time doing this instead.
Voila.
Clearing mountain bike trails with his chainsaw.
I like the mechanics of it all, and I like to try and calculate where the forces are with the tree, you know, the weight loads and things like that.
Schultz is a member of the Athens Bicycle Club, a group of about 40 to 120 people dedicated to maintaining more than 120 miles of biking and hiking trails in Athens County, including this one near the Dow Lake Dam. With all those miles to manage, President Bob West says the club needs more members.
Trails are very, very necessary, but they're also not natural. They're going to grow back.
And donations for better equipment.
We need to be able to hand them safety glasses, hard hats, or bike helmets, or whatever they need, because we're way past the point where we can expect our volunteer workforce to come in and pay for all their own stuff.
It is vital work to keep riders, hikers, and runners safe and coming back.
If their arms are bleeding from briar scratches, they're going to go somewhere else.
So West hopes a new generation of volunteers will continue to keep these trails clean for others.
For more information on volunteering to work on the trails, visit athensbicycleclub.org. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Allison Patton, live in studio.
After a deadly crash on I-70 left 3 adults and 3 local students dead in Licking County, the truck driver is now facing charges. The driver, Jacob McDonald, is being indicted on 26 charges, including aggravated vehicular homicide. McDonald is being accused of causing a multi-vehicle crash after failing to slow down for traffic on November 14th in 2023, killing 6 and injuring 18 others. McDonald is being held on $1 million bond in the Licking County Jail. In the Columbus Zoo fraud case, the former CEO has pleaded guilty. Tom Stolf pleaded guilty today to 15 felony charges that included aggravated theft, conspiracy, telecommunications fraud, and tampering with records. Before the plea, Stolf's trial was scheduled for early August. He will now face sentencing in early October. There are still cases against 4 other defendants in the scheme. The final defendant was charged yesterday, while the other 3 are awaiting sentencing. In total, the group is alleged to have defrauded the zoo of more than $2 million for personal use.
For our first look at weather today, you might be seeing a few sprinkles out there in Athens. Currently, there is a small system making its way through, giving us some sprinkles. There is a little bit of red in there. You might see some pop-ups of more intense rain, but they're coming in and out every about 15 minutes. We're seeing them breaking up and giving us those isolated chances for some rain over these past 24 hours. This rain is from these 2 low pressure systems kind of converging, giving us this high pressure system in the middle, making the rain be able to break up, but giving us that rain for today that is very isolated before we start getting some of that rain for these next couple of days. It's going to be a rainy one out there for these next couple of days. Looking at the temperatures from this rain and this cloud cover, we're having those temperatures overnight make it to those low 60s, and then we finally made it to those 80s at about 1 o'clock, and currently out there it is 77 in Athens. We were just at that about 80-degree mark not that long ago, but that cloud cover and that rain is cooling our temperatures down just a little bit. Huntington, where there's no rain, you can see 87 compared to our 77. Newark seeing that sun at 81. Lancaster just had some rain in there, and they're at 79. Tonight we'll be cooling down to that low of 66, and these next couple of days, like I was saying, are going to have some rain before some sun moves in for this weekend. I'll be getting into that for my full forecast. Let's take it back over to Donovan.
Thanks, Isabel. With football season getting closer, high school teams are preparing for the fall. Shane Scalfaro joins us with more on the Athens Bulldogs.
Yeah, Donovan, after a 1-4 start last season, Athens found momentum to close out the second half of the year. With the team returning a lot of key players, there's a lot of hype surrounding the Dogs from the Plains.
Really hard for a long period of time, and this is your payday.
This was the feeling last year for head coach Nathan White and his team after finishing the regular season with a massive win over rival Nelsonville York. The victory earned Athens their first winning season since 2018 and a second-place finish in the TVC Ohio. Coach White has a feeling this team is still riding that high as they prepare for the fall.
We had as good an offseason as we've ever had, and I can't help but think that having some success late last year was a reason for that.
That and the fact the team only lost 3 seniors to graduation.
The biggest thing as a coach is scheme has been easier this year because we have so many kids back that already know what we're doing.
Braden Young returns at quarterback for his senior season, and he's surrounded by familiar players at every skill position.
The chemistry's there. When I'm running around, I know where they're going to be, so that helps a lot.
The team is built to be ready for whatever happens, with senior receiver Caden Bykovsky saying one of the team's mottos is next man up.
We have a lot of depth in our DB and receiver room. I think that we can, no matter what happens, if we get big guys injured, we can have someone step up and still do damage.
Despite all of the hype surrounding the team, Coach White is keeping the noise out of the building.
We haven't talked about that 1 second. We're coaching them up like we were 0-10 the last 3 years, and we're battling to earn everything.
Athens will kick off their season on the road against Philo. In the meantime, stay tuned for more Gridiron Glory content in the coming weeks, with Season 25 debuting August 23rd. For more 740 content, check us out on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For written content, head to woub.org/gridiron. Whatever you need, we've got it covered. Let Gridiron Glory be your source for all things high school football in Southeast Ohio. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Shane Scalfaro, live in studio.
Coming up, what Vice President Kamala Harris still needs to do to secure the presidential nomination at the Democratic National Convention. And new data may show some improvements in the housing market.
When are we going to see that sun again? Next on Newswatch.
You just gotta roll with the punches. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm hitting 70 years old now, and it's time for me to have it together.
I still believe in hard work, but I will say that I think we are fooling ourselves if we believe that it's only hard work.
There are so many people that are in the same situation, that are struggling the same way. It's like we haven't come very far.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
There have always been those of us looking for stories that keep us alive.
You're born to this world to make a difference.
It's about building systems that will save lives.
Ya solo ese pasto se está acabando. Es una especie en peligro de extinción.
No one is the same. Everybody is so unique.
Over 200 local newsrooms, over 3,600 journalists, a community of 300 million Americans. The NPR network is listener-supported, independent journalism in communities around the country. It amplifies more voices, more Americas, and takes all of us on new journeys. It takes all of us closer to home. It takes all of us.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has resigned in the wake of the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Cheadle and the Secret Service have been facing intense scrutiny over security lapses related to the assassination attempt. There were bipartisan calls in Congress for her to step down, and Republicans wanted to impeach her. Frustration grew after she testified before Congress yesterday and was unwilling to answer many of the committee's questions. President Biden thanked Cheadle for her service and said he will appoint a new director soon. Cheadle's resignation comes as a House Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have officially announced a bipartisan task force to investigate the Trump assassination attempt. The goal of the task force will be to identify the security failures that led to the shooting, seek accountability, and prevent such an attempt from happening again. The House will vote on a resolution later this week to establish the task force and its members. It will be made up of 7 Republicans and 6 Democrats. Vice President Kamala Harris has momentum and money on her side as she moves towards the Democratic presidential nomination. But Republicans are sharpening their attacks on the new presumptive nominee. Karen Kafa has the latest on Harris's first swing state rally.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin!
Vice President Kamala Harris in Milwaukee Tuesday, the first rally of her new presidential bid in a key swing state.
Friends, we have 105 days until Election Day. And in that time, we've got some work to do. But we're not afraid of hard work. We like hard work, don't we?
Since President Joe Biden dropped his re-election bid Sunday and endorsed her for the top of the Democratic ticket, Harris has secured enough delegate endorsements to win the party's presidential nomination, as well as endorsements from the House and Senate Democratic leaders on Tuesday.
We are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
Her campaign boasted a surge of more than 30,000 volunteer signups, and Democrats are heartened to see enthusiasm among younger voters.
We've seen this happening on TikTok and social media little by little as Gen Z's really grappled around Kamala Harris, her record, and are excited about her.
But there are still more than 100 days to go until Election Day, and Republicans are sharpening their attacks.
Kamala Harris is a San Francisco liberal who would just continue the failed Biden-Harris policies.
A Trump campaign memo called Harris the co-pilot of what they describe as Biden's failures on key issues like immigration and inflation.
She signed up for every single one of Joe Biden's failures, and she lied about his mental capacity to serve as president.
Biden announced he'll address the nation about his decision to exit the 2024 race from the Oval Office Wednesday night. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Convicted New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez has finally agreed to resign from his seat. Menendez will step down effective August 20th. This comes amid mounting pressure from his own party to step down or risk being expelled from the Senate. Last week, the New Jersey Democrat was convicted of 16 counts, including bribery, extortion, and wire fraud. Prosecutors accused him of taking bribes to advance Egyptian military interests and secure investments from Qatari officials. A sentencing date has been set for October 29th. Menendez said he plans to appeal his conviction.
Currently outside, we're seeing those temperatures in Athens at 77s. There are a few lightning strikes in the plains and in some parts of Athens County. The city is safe from those lightning strikes. So if you're feeling those rumbles, that is a little bit of that system making its way through. For tonight, most of that rain should be gone in these next couple hours, giving us just a 20% chance of some isolated thunderstorms for our overnight and giving us that low of 66. From these past 24 hours, this low pressure system from the south is giving us most of our rain, and it's converging with a little bit of that from the north, which is going to be giving us that rain for these next couple days continuing. 12 hours ahead, this system is still making its way through. You'll see how they're kind of separated with this high pressure, which is really breaking this up, giving us those isolated chances for that rain for these next couple days. Tomorrow, that is whenever it's becoming very, very piecey and isolated. And then once we reach after tomorrow, that's whenever they'll be fully making it together. 40% chance of thunderstorms for tomorrow, very similar to today with that temperature high of 87. We're looking at 36 hours ahead once we hit Thursday. You're seeing just how much that low pressure system is making its way down, giving us a little bit of a cold front. It is going to be a little bit on the colder side before we start warming up for the weekend. And we're having that really the real bulk of the rain for our Thursday. Then once we reach 48 hours ahead, that low pressure system is fully in our area, giving us that rain pretty consistently for our Thursday. We're seeing that once we're done with our Thursday, though, that chance of sun brings its way back in before we're hit with some more rain for early next week. Tomorrow, that 40% chance of thunderstorms, they're really going to be those PC isolated storms. That'll be hitting us throughout the midday. That high of 87, that cold front I was talking about for Thursday, you'll see that temperature high only at 83 with that low of 61. Still on that warmer side. We're still in the summertime. It's still July, but a little bit cooler than we've been having for these last couple of days. And then once that sun comes in, we're going to see those temperatures rise back up to those 90s. By Sunday, we'll be at that high of 90 and that low of 66. On Friday, Saturday, just those mostly sunny skies. You'll see Sunday, that's whenever the clouds start to make their way back in. And then Monday, that's that 30% chance of thunderstorms again. We are seeing a little bit of that chance for some heavy rain on Monday. Going into Tuesday, we'll see that 40% with a few clouds. That is a little bit of that chance of rain. So definitely that rain that we've been needing for these last couple weeks. We've had that drought that we've been talking about, and we're having just those low chances of rain. We're still at less than 2 inches of rain for all of July. So we do need this rain to be making its way in, but it's hitting us at a good time. We're going to have that clearer weekend for us here in Athens. And then once we're looking at that weekday, that's whenever those chances of rain starts to hit us for next week. So keep that umbrella around for tomorrow and for Thursday. And then weekend, you won't need it that much. But once we hit the weekday, once again, you're going to be needing it again. Let's take it back over to Donovan.
Thanks, Isabel. Some air travelers could face days of continued headaches. That's due to a software defect that caused thousands of flight cancellations and delays since Friday. Most carriers say they're recovering or recovered, but Delta is still struggling. A statement from its CEO Monday suggests the carrier's problems could continue into the week. For many affected airlines, the glitch involves computers used to check in passengers. But Delta says one of its crew tracking tools is also impaired, making its problems worse. Delta has canceled or delayed hundreds of flights, even as other major airlines have returned to normal operations. So why hasn't Delta been able to level its wings yet? As Laura Geary explains, it's a question the feds are asking now.
They rebooked me for Wednesday.
They're telling her Wednesday.
Wednesday morning, yeah.
Not great news on a Tuesday for these passengers among the hundreds waiting at a number of U.S.-based Delta gates. The airline is still struggling to get flights moving smoothly.
We have had our 2 flights canceled and we're on our 3rd one.
Several major air carriers suffered technology slowdowns Friday after a faulty software update by the U.S.-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike threw many global systems temporarily into chaos. But 5 days later, Delta finds itself still mired in a logistical meltdown.
The flight attendant came on and said, "Hey everybody, we can't seem to find the pilots."
Now the Department of Transportation is getting involved, announcing Tuesday it's launching an investigation, saying in a statement that Delta must take care of its passengers and honor customer service commitments, adding that the department will leverage the full extent of its enforcement power to ensure Delta passengers' rights are upheld.
There should be some kind of compensation for this.
And there is. The DOT is urging all air travelers hit with flight disruptions this week or at any time to visit flightrights.gov for complete details on protections like ticket refunds and expense reimbursement. Delta Airlines says it will fully cooperate with the DOT's investigation and will work tirelessly to make things right for its customers. An effort that, like reuniting passengers with their wayward luggage, could take a long time. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Things may soon be looking up for Americans interested in buying a new home. A recent report from real estate marketplace Zillow found that nearly 1 in 4 home sellers offered price cuts in June. Another issue with home buying has been inventory, but according to the report, there were 23% more active listings last month compared to June last year. The average rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage fell this week to its lowest level since mid-March. The Fed is expected to begin lowering borrowing costs at its September meeting. The U.S. economy remains historically strong, but the high cost of living in parts of the country is stressing out many workers. A new poll finds nearly 40% of Americans worry most or all of the time that their family income won't be enough to meet expenses. That's up from 28% who expressed those concerns in December 2021. And it's similar to the numbers seen during the Great Recession 17 years ago. To cope, significant numbers of Americans said they're adding side jobs, cutting down on driving, and putting more expenses on credit cards. Next, a new study may find a connection between dementia and depression risks. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
We are entertainers first.
That's my stage.
There were some anger issues.
You cannot be serious!
If you say sex is gold, I hope I was popular for my tennis.
She made women believe that they are equal to men.
Tennis was absolutely massive.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
A new study found that there may be a link between predicting dementia risk and predicting depression. In December, scientists announced a 21-point brain care score, which assesses dementia or stroke risk without medical procedures. The score helps patients and doctors identify beneficial lifestyle changes. But the study's authors say the score could also predict the odds of developing depression later in life. The score refers to how a person fares on 12 related factors that include physical, lifestyle, and social emotional. The higher the score, the lower risk of brain disease and depression. Experts say many colorectal cancer deaths can be prevented through screening tests. However, traditional methods aren't always popular with patients because of their invasiveness. Mandy Gaither has more on a new study that could help identify colorectal cancer at home.
When it comes to colorectal cancer, there are several tests used for screening. Which one to choose depends on the patient.
The best test is the one that gets done and done well.
Dr. Chaik Dalbany with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is lead author of a study which looked at whether the fecal immunochemical test, or FIT, is effective in detecting hidden blood in the stool, which can be an early sign of cancer. The FIT test is ideal for some because it's done at home, completed with one stool sample. There's no prep, no special diets or medicine, and it's inexpensive. But does it work?
So this study basically confirms that it is effective. First of all, estimates are around 33% effectiveness in reducing death from colorectal cancer. But also more importantly, it's effective across racial and ethnic groups that were studied, i.e. Black people, white people, and Asian people.
The researchers say it was especially effective at detecting cancer in the left colon and in the rectum. Dalbany says the test wasn't as effective for the right side, which is where the colon begins.
Almost all of the tests we use for colon cancer screening are perhaps slightly less effective on that side because it's harder to reach.
If the FIT test is positive for hidden blood, Dalbany says it's critical to immediately follow up with a colonoscopy. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The doctor says the FIT test is simple, but the instructions need to be followed. If a patient has questions on how to complete it, talk to your doctor. Still ahead, this famous rapper is making his debut at the Olympics this year. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Support comes from Visit Athens County. More information can be found at athensohio.com. Athens, it's more than a place.
Good evening, I'm Amna Nawaz. Jeff Bennett is away. On the NewsHour tonight, the Secret Service director resigns in the wake of sharp criticism for the agency's failure to protect